In the glitzy Asian city-state of Singapore, the Siguans are out, limousines polished and hotel pillows plumped. The city's hosting Taylor Swift's Eras Tour this week, an honor, but one that has come at a cost. That price was initially reported to be as high as $24 million for the 6 shows to be exclusive to the Southeast Asian country. Culture Minister Edwin Tong has since told Singapore CNA the figure was nowhere as high, although he still refused to be drawn on the exact figure. The broadcast, however, suggests it may have been just $2 million for all 6. But the fact any money has been spent only came to light after an outburst from the Prime Minister of Thailand, who accused Singapore of paying concert organizers US 2 to 3 million per night. Jesus, that triggered criticism across the region. In the Philippines, a lawmaker criticized the move, saying this isn't what good neighbors do, and called for a formal protest against the grant. But while governments are seeing red, it's the fans who are paying the price, literally. Swift is heard everywhere across Southeast Asia, home to roughly 700 million people, from alleyways in Ho Chi Minh to taxicabs in Bangkok. So for many, it was a punch in the gut to learn all 6 shows would be held in the region's most expensive city. Singapore's currency, one of the strongest in Asia, has long been a deterrent for visitors. But for a chance to see their idol, many of her fans are willing to grin and bear it. Look what you made me do. Flight loads of fans have been touching down at Singapore's Shang airport all week, many coming from China and its territories. Swift isn't playing in China, so Singapore is the next best thing for many. One woman flying in from Shenzhen told the BBC she and her friend had spent $1,200 each on tickets alone. They've resorted to camping in a friend's house after hotel rates across the city surged. On the luxe end of things, the city's landmark hotel, Marina Bay Sands, has been sold out of its 50,000 Swift packages, which included 4 VIP tickets and a 3-night stay in a suite. Then there's 22-year-old Alan Dunca in the Philippines, who scraped together his wages to take him and his mother to Singapore. This Thursday, they'll take a 4-hour bus ride to Manila, stay at an airport motel for the night, then grab their down flight the next day. The enterprising student snapped up the travel package back in July. He eventually tracked down the tickets on a resale night after weeks of desperate hunting. I am very lucky, he says, the $400 outlay for seats in the nosebleed section. The seller was kind of not a scalper. Resales now are going for thousands, and he had almost fallen for a scam, a shady character named Pat Steve, later exposed online. He estimates the whole endeavor is costing $2,000, the monthly income of an upper middle class family in the Philippines, a country where a fifth of the population lives under the poverty line. Right now, I'm a student with a part-time job and I can afford my wants and needs, but it's sad other Swifties don't have any means or budget to watch her overseas, and I know most Filipino Swifties love her so much. The Philippines arguably has the most ardent Swift fan base. Spotify data showed Quezon City in Manila has played the most streams of the singer last year. The pop star has toured in the Philippines before, but the bag of money from Singapore undoubtedly sweetened the deal, says analysis. Clean, modern Singapore has long been seen as a base in the region for big events. It has the infrastructure to transport links and a high-earning, expat-heavy population. It's also seen as reliably stable in a region which has experienced political chaos. A decade ago, Swift canceled her shows in Thailand because of the military coup and resulting protests. Still, while it's common for governments around the world to give out subsidies and tax breaks to bring in events, the reported spend goes beyond anything else publicly known in Singapore. Samir Hajar, a marketing lecturer at the National University of Singapore, says it's above average even for the city-state. And fans are quite blunt. It's kind of greedy, says Mr. Dunga, and it's wise because their economic response will be way more than that. But will it be enough? But will it be, though? Show me the money. In Australia, the leg of the tour preceding Singapore, officials suggest the tour provided a 145 million uplift in consumer spending. More than 570,000 tickets were sold across 7 nights in Sydney and Melbourne, nearly double the numbers sold for Singapore's 6 shows. But not all of that money counts, says economist. More than 90% of the showgoers were probably local, estimates KPMG's chief economist Dr. Brendan Ryan. So their dollars would be just a transfer from one category of spending or saving to another. Only foreign visitors would have been adding to the books, and they accounted for just 2% of the visitors, he estimated. After doing the math, he projected Swift had only added a 10 million to GDP. Still, Australia didn't use public funds to have Swift play in the country. State government officials confirmed to the BBC. Neither did Japan, the only other Asian stop in the tour. Singapore has said Swift's tour will bring certain economic benefits to the country, but just how much net gain will be generated is unclear. The BBC has reached out to Singapore's tourism board, but they have refused to reveal foreign visitors' estimates or other modeling. A local bank, Maybank, has suggested that consumer spending may top 350 million, but that's based on the very optimistic prediction of 70% of attendees being from out of town. That's very optimistic. They were only 2% in the other case. Even Singapore's Formula One Grand Prix only saw 49% of spectators from overseas in 2022, with a record 300,000 crowd. When pressed on the numbers, Maybank's economist Erica Tay could not provide specifics, saying the 70% rate was based on Singapore's potential catchment, and the bank was not interested in estimating net profit. 6 concerts may not move a nation's economic growth materially, but the strategic value of Taylor Swift's endorsement of Singapore as a tourism destination outweighs the one-off boost, she said. But business professor Julian Kayla from Singapore's Nanyang Technical University points out that public spend should be scrutinized, especially when it's only revealed to citizens by another country's government. In a country where welfare benefits are relatively limited, it could be seen as a fraught spend. To justify spending 24 million, so something that on the surface might not seem that critical to the economic health of the country, over spending on people and public services, there's a tension there, Professor Kayla said. Nevertheless, he and others say that when it comes to planning tourism, governments have mandates to throw around money, and Singapore isn't an exception. They don't necessarily like to advertise it, but the minute the government sees something that fits into a long-term strategy, it will sink government money to support that, he says. In a way, Singapore has just brought in Swift the same way it currently attracts huge multinational corporations. What's different here is that Taylor Swift as a business is a very emotional business, he said. It's dealing with the emotions of 10 to 18-year-olds who are very sad to not see the concert happening in Bangkok or Jakarta. And in the words of the songstress herself, that's caused a lot of bad blood. So they take her concerts and stick them in the most expensive city where a lot of people don't have the resources to even survive out there. I mean, you heard that somebody bought tickets that were, or rather, their trip over there was like 2,000 altogether. So it's like roughly what somebody would make in a month of working. You know, I've never, even as someone that likes music, been to a concert before, and that primarily has to do with the pricing. You know, I've seen tickets to just like be close to the stage, or I guess be in the nosebleed section, be whatever you would justify it as. I've seen tickets where to be in front they want like $4,000. So it's like I can't reasonably anticipate spending anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 if you're talking about getting the tickets and then flying over there and getting the hotel. I just don't know anyone personally that has that kind of money. Certainly to where they can just shell all of it out on going to see somebody for one night at a at a concert. But man, when I saw the thing about, what was it, the $50,000 that somebody spent to try and go over there, and really it is disturbing that this information would not be known to the citizens of Singapore had it not been for the Prime Minister of Thailand saying, "Hey, look at all the money they're spending on Swift." So if he hadn't have gotten mad and made his outburst, people just wouldn't have any idea that they were pulling this scheme of theirs. But everything is usually related to some kind of greed. So if they can scoop her up in the most expensive city in that region, and limit the number of people who can see it by virtue of everything just costing so damn much, they'll do it. because to them they think that the benefit of her using her as a tourist attraction outweighs the necessity of living for the various people that are either in that same region but not in Singapore, who may otherwise want to see her but just can't afford it. But I do think it's going to backfire on them because, in some a point I've always made, when you make a lot of this stuff just so damn expensive, just absurdly expensive. Like we talk about in the U.S., most people can't afford $1,000 emergency. How many Americans do you think are going to travel to Singapore to go see a Swift concert or really any singer's concert? I like that it seems like every album, every article about her that isn't written by some major news source, or excuse me, by an American news source, it seems to have some reference to her songs. They had "Look What You Made Me Do" as like the headline that was under the first part of the article, and then toward the end they used "Bad Blood." I could see why there's bad blood between the people and their government. The people are like, hey, can you guys, maybe actually spend some of this money on us for once? No, we're doing this concert. Go away. Man, I couldn't imagine spending thousands and thousands of dollars just to go to a concert. But people do that, and it's really unfortunate. Like, I know the one guy was talking about the $400 was a good deal and he avoided a scalper, but even then it's like $400. For me, that's like a whole 2 months of food right there. So I couldn't pull it. I'm glad other people are able to, afford that. But these everything just costs too much. Is the way I put it. And they know that it does, but as long as they can increase their profit, they don't care.